steaks on the grill was loud, but not loud enough to drown out my father's voice as it sliced through the air like a blade. "Hey, Madison," he called out with a smirk that told me trouble was coming. "You're old enough to pay rent or get out. This isn't a charity." Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us, where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos? And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us, what would you do in this situation? Be honest. Tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. The laughter that followed wasn't just his. It came from my stepmother, Denise, and my younger half-brother, Tyler, who leaned back in his chair, popping open another beer like he'd just heard the best joke of the night. My hands tightened around the plate I was holding, the paper edges crumpling under my grip. It wasn't just the words, it was the timing. He said it in front of the whole family, while neighbors mingled in the yard, pretending not to hear. He wanted them to hear. He wanted me humiliated. I set the plate down slowly on the picnic table, forcing myself to keep my voice steady. "You've been taking half my paycheck for years, Dad. I've been paying the bills." His face twisted into that fake, exaggerated shrug he used when mocking me. "So, that's called life. If you don't like it, find somewhere else to live." Tyler chuckled under his breath. "Good luck with that." The air felt heavy with the scent of grilled meat and something darker, disgust, betrayal. I could feel the eyes on me from across the yard. They all thought I'd stay quiet, maybe cry later in my room. But that wasn't going to happen this time. I stepped closer to him, close enough that the flicker of the grill's flames lit up his smirk. "Fine," I said, my voice low but sharp. "You want me gone? You'll get your wish." He laughed, waving his tongs at me like I was a pesky fly. "Yeah? And where are you going to go? Back to your little apartment that fell apart? You've got no savings, Madison." The rest of the evening blurred into a tense mix of forced smiles and whispered gossip. But in my mind, plans were already snapping into place. He didn't know what I had been working on quietly for months. He didn't know I'd just gotten the keys to my own house. By the time the BBQ was over, I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to drag this out. If he wanted me gone, he was going to see just how far gone I could be. And when I left, I'd take more than my things. I'd take the comfort he thought he controlled. The next morning, I loaded the last box into the back of my car. My hands shook, not from sadness, but from the rush of knowing what was coming. I drove to my new place, a small but beautiful 2-story home with white siding and a wraparound porch. The air smelled fresher here. By noon, I had the deed in my name on the kitchen counter. I sent a short, simple message to my dad. "I've moved out. The bills are yours now." It didn't take long. Within an hour, my phone lit up with his number. I let it ring. Then another call from Denise. I let that one ring too. By dinner time, I heard the sound of a truck pulling up outside my new house. I looked out the window and saw my father getting out, his face pale, his jaw tight. Denise trailed behind, looking as if she'd swallowed something sour. When I stepped onto my porch, he stopped at the bottom of the steps. "You're not serious," he said, voice low, urgent. I leaned against the railing, my arms crossed. "I told you. You said pay rent or get out. I chose get out. And now?" My voice sharpened. "I'll stop paying your bills too." His face drained of color completely. Denise's lips parted, but no sound came out. Tyler's car was behind them, and even he looked uneasy. For the first time in my life, I realized the power I'd been giving them all along. And I knew I was just getting started. The moment they drove away, I stood on my porch and just breathed. Not relief. No, not yet. It was the first inhale in years that didn't feel like I owed someone for the air. I didn't waste time. I went inside, grabbed my laptop, and began cutting every cord they'd been feeding on. Electric bill? Gone from my account. Gas? Removed. Internet? Water? Car insurance? Severed one by one. With each confirmation email, I felt my spine straighten. An hour later, my phone lit up. Dad calling. I let it ring. Denise next, then Tyler. I didn't answer a single one. By late afternoon, the group chat started blowing up. "Dad, this isn't funny, Maddie. The Wi-Fi's down." Denise, "You can't just shut things off. That's not how family works." Tyler, "Hope you're happy. You ruined dinner." I typed one line and sent it. "I've moved out. Bills are your responsibility now. Please don't show up uninvited." I thought that would be the end of it, until I saw their truck pull up outside my new place. Dad got out first, jaw tight. Denise trailed behind with her arms crossed. Tyler didn't even bother leaving the car. Dad stopped at the bottom step. All right, enough of this stunt. You made your point? Turn the accounts back on for a week while we transition. I met his gaze. Number, you've been taking half my paycheck for years. You made it clear last night. You want me gone. I'm gone. And so is my money. Denise's voice cracked with a bitter laugh. Wow. Cold. No, I said, stepping down to meet them halfway. Cold as laughing at your kid in front of neighbors? This question mark. This is warm compared to that. Dad's mouth opened, but nothing came out. For the first time, I saw something I'd never seen in him before. Hesitation. I walked back up the porch. You'll figure it out, just like I did. The door clicked shut behind me, and for the first time in years, I realized I was finally the one holding the lock. The next morning, I woke up to the kind of silence that doesn't exist in my father's house. No stomping boots, no blaring TV, no Denise shouting about some misplaced receipt. Just stillness. I made coffee in my small but bright kitchen, the steam curling into the sunlight that poured through the window. For a second, I almost smiled, until my phone started buzzing. Unknown number. Call us. This is urgent. Dad, the electric's off. There's food spoiling. We have to talk. Denise, if you care about this family, you'll fix this today. I set the phone down, refusing to let their chaos bleed into my morning. They were just learning what I'd known for years. Bills don't magically pay themselves. By noon, the knock started. 3 sharp raps on my front door. I checked the camera. Denise, alone this time. Sunglasses hiding half her face. I opened the door just enough. What do you want? Her smile was forced, brittle. We need the car insurance in your name for just a few more days. Tyler's got an interview. I shook my head. I already moved it to my address. It's my policy. If Tyler's driving, he needs his own. Her jaw twitched. You're punishing us. No, I said, leaning against the frame. I'm refusing to be punished anymore. She blinked, caught off guard by how calm I sounded. Your father's furious. You know, he's only like this because he's stressed. The shop closing? That shop closed 3 years ago, I cut in. He's had 3 years to stop leaning on me like a crutch. For a moment, the mask slipped. Her eyes hardened. You'll regret this, sooner than you think. I closed the door without answering. That night, as I was unpacking boxes in my new living room, my phone lit up again, this time with an email from my bank. Suspicious login attempt detected. My stomach tightened. I logged in, multiple failed password attempts, and then something else. A department store credit card I'd never opened, registered to my name with an address that wasn't mine. It didn't take long to connect the dots. My purse had gone missing in the old house a year ago, only to reappear 2 days later with nothing missing, or so I thought. Tyler, I printed every email, every statement, and slid them into a folder marked boundaries in big black letters. I wasn't just protecting myself anymore. I was building a case. At midnight, another text came in from Tyler. You think you're better than us now? Watch your mailbox. I stared at the screen, the anger in my chest sharpening into something colder, steadier. They weren't just losing my money, they were losing their grip. And the more they realized it, the uglier this was going to get. The next 2 days were quiet, too quiet. No knocks, no calls, just the occasional text from Tyler dripping with sarcasm or veiled threats. I kept my replies short, always, in writing, careful like my attorney advised. Every word, every date, every attempt they made to pull me back in, I saved it. By the third morning, the silence broke. My phone buzzed nonstop as I sipped coffee at my kitchen counter. Screenshots from friends and neighbors started rolling in. Facebook posts from Denise, written in that self-pitying tone she'd perfected. Some people think they can just turn their back on family. After all we've done, they leave us in the dark. Literally. The comments were predictable. Mutual friends offering sympathy. Distant relatives I hadn't spoken to in years asking what happened. And of course, her favorite move, leaving just enough detail out so the villain could be anyone. But the most telling thing, not one of them tagged me, not one said my name. They wanted to paint the picture without giving me a brush. I didn't take the bait. Instead, I called the power company, water company, and internet provider again to confirm every account had been switched to their name. I wasn't giving them a single inch of leverage. By noon, my doorbell rang. The camera feed made my jaw tighten. Dad this time, alone, hands shoved deep in his jacket pockets. I opened the door but stayed behind the threshold. What is it? His voice was calmer than I expected, but the edge was still there. We've got a situation. The mortgage payment's due, and without your transfer, not my problem, I said before he could finish. His eyes narrowed. Do you even hear yourself? You've been part of this household for years. You don't just walk away from responsibilities overnight. I laughed. Actually laughed, sharp and humorless. You mean the responsibilities you dumped on me the second I started working? The ones you never asked about, just took? He stepped closer. You think this new place makes you better than us? That you can just hide here while we drown? I met his stare without blinking. I'm not hiding, Dad. I'm just done being your lifeline. His jaw worked like he was chewing on a dozen unsaid threats. Then he turned to leave, but not before tossing one last shot over his shoulder. You're going to regret this when you come crawling back. I closed the door slowly, almost enjoying the click of the lock. Crawling back wasn't in my vocabulary anymore. That night, as the sun dipped low and the air cooled, I saw their situation unravel in real time. A neighbor from my old street called me, voice low like we were sharing a secret. They were out in the driveway arguing, loud. Something about the bank account being overdrawn. Denise was screaming that she couldn't buy groceries, and your dad kept saying it's your fault. I thanked them, hung up, and sat there for a long moment. They were feeling it now, the weight I'd carried alone for years pressing down on them for the first time. The next day, I decided to make it clear this wasn't just about me. Leaving, it was about reclaiming every inch of control they'd stolen. I went to the bank, met with the manager, and closed the last joint account they still had access to. When I left, the folder in my bag felt heavier, thicker, more complete. That evening, a text came through from Denise. You've made your point. We get it. Just, please help us this month. We'll figure it out after. I didn't reply. 2 hours later, a public post appeared on her profile. Funny how people change when they think they don't need you anymore. But life has a way of humbling everyone. For once, she was right. Life does have a way of humbling everyone, and theirs was only getting started. It was a Saturday morning when the perfect opportunity landed in my lap. I was sipping coffee, scrolling through emails, when one from the mortgage company for my dad's address popped up. The subject line read, Urgent, past due balance, and notice of public auction. At first, I thought it was a mistake. I hadn't lived there for weeks, and I'd already removed my name from everything tied to that house. But when I opened it, I realized the bank must have still had me listed as an emergency contact from years ago. The letter was blunt. 2 payments missed, no arrangement made, auction date set in 30 days. I sat there staring at the screen. This was it. The moment when the universe handed me proof, in black and white, that all their loud confidence was just smoke. Before, I might have rushed over, tried to fix it, drained my account again to save them. Now, I hit print. Then I slid the paper into my boundaries folder. By noon, I heard the inevitable, the pounding at my door. This time, all 3 of them were on the porch. Dad red-faced, Denise tight-lipped, Tyler smirking like a kid who thinks he's about to win a game. I stepped outside, shutting the door behind me. Dad didn't waste time. You saw the notice. We can't lose the house, Maddie. You're going to help fix this. I folded my arms. No, I'm not. You're still family, he shouted, loud enough for the neighbors across the street to glance over. I didn't lower my voice. Family doesn't use you as a wallet. Family doesn't laugh while you're humiliated in front of half the neighborhood. Family doesn't commit fraud in your name and expect you to just take it. Denise stepped forward, eyes darting to the people watching from their yards. Do you have to make a scene? Yes, I said flatly, because you had no problem making one when it suited you. Tyler muttered under his breath. Unbelievable. I turned to him. You're right. It is unbelievable that I let this go on for as long as I did. Dad's voice dropped, that quiet, dangerous tone he used when he thought he could still intimidate me. If you walk away from this, you'll be nothing to us. I smiled, but there was no humor in it. Then I'll be nothing to you and everything to myself. I stepped back toward the door, but before I went inside, I pulled the printed foreclosure notice from my folder and held it up where they could all see. This, I said, my voice cutting clean through the air, is what happens when the person you've been draining finally stops bleeding for you. And then I let it drop to the porch at their feet. The door closed behind me with a solid, satisfying click. Through the blinds, I watched them stand there. Dad frozen, Denise glancing at the neighbors' stares. Tyler kicking the paper like it might bite him. They left without another word. That evening, I posted a single vague line on my own social media. Sometimes the best gift you can give someone is the chance to stand on their own 2 feet. The comments rolled in, people asking if I'd finally moved, congratulating me on my new place, sending messages of support. Not once did I name them. I didn't need to. Because the truth was, their downfall wasn't my story.